Hey YouTube, what's going on? It's Adam here with Retro Repairs, and today I'm going to test the Super Advantage for the Super Nintendo. So this was an arcade joystick made by a company called Asciiware, and it was made as a follow-up to the NES Advantage. I'm going to grab one right here and show you. So, NES Advantage, Super Advantage. Same idea, gives you a real kind of arcade experience, and we're gonna try and fix this. So when I turned this on the very first time I tested this in the my previous video, I found that there were a few issues with some of the buttons just not working properly. So I'm going to show you how to open this up and fix it. But first we're going to give it a thorough testing. So what I like to use to test is this cartridge here called the Super Nintendo Burn-In Test Cartridge. And what this is actually it's a repro cartridge. So someone took the ROM from one of the original burn-in test cartridges, which would have been used in Nintendo service centers. And you can use this, you plug it into your game, and it gives you a bunch of tests that you can run to test the hardware, not only on your Super Nintendo, but also on your controllers. So let's test it. We'll do the controller test. So let's find out where start is right there. So it's telling me I'm currently holding top right is what it's saying. So I don't know if we can really get a good, there we go. So it wants me to go up, but it's recognizing up and right at the same time. So right off the bat, we're getting some issues here. So select works, start works, Y works, X works. Y is on turbo mode apparently. Y, X, B, A is also on turbo mode. Left works, right works, start works, select works, down works, left works, up and right seem to be permanently on. So, seems to me that we need to open this up and try and figure out what's going on. Alright, so first things first, we're gonna crack this open and take a look at what's inside. So, flip it over, and you'll note we've got 6 Phillips screws here that need to be removed.
Alright, so take those screws out, set them aside. I like to use a magnetic dish here to keep everything all put together. And this back should
come off. There we go. Just falls right down, and that can be put over to the side. And we can see what we've got here. So, take a quick look at how this is set up. We see that the controller cable is looped around these 3 posts up at the top here. This guy here is really solely just so that when you push down on the buttons, it pushes that force directly against the metal bottom here so that it's not having a lot of bounce. So let's go ahead and remove all of these screws that you see. I'm working on the assumption that they're all the same size. If they're not, I will point that out. Alright, so all the screws are now removed. We can, this one seems to be just caught by a couple threads. There we go. So we can now remove the joystick. Pull that off to the side. So there are 4 screws in here that have been removed. And these appear to be all the same size, so like I suggested, they can be mixed and matched. Shouldn't make much of a difference. So as we recall, when we were testing this, up and right were constantly being called. So these two ones here, I suspect we're going to have to give them a bit of a cleanup. So spring, we can put that off to the side. Usually the ball here on this will unscrew. We can pull that off. We can remove this. The strain relief just goes into the little notch here in the plastic sheathing. Then there's a couple of clips here which hold the PCB into place. So you're just going to have to slide those off to the side. There's one down here as well. One more screw we missed right in the middle of this guy. And then the board should lift straight up. So this is what we got. This is the PCB of the Super Advantage, and overall it looks pretty clean. You'll note that there are some marks here from these sliders as they've been moving, so we might go ahead and clean those up a bit. So I think we'll just clean all these pads up, give all of these a good wipe down, make sure that there's nothing. It looks pretty clean, but make sure that there's nothing that's going to cause issues going forward here. So to do that, we grab isopropyl alcohol, Q-tip, and it's simple. Dunk Q-tip in alcohol, wipe board with Q-tip. So we want to go over all of this, make sure that there's nothing in the way, and then we're going to test for any broken traces. This, to me, it looks like a kind of a poor design. You see, I'm going to dry this up a bit, but you see how it's sort of eaten away at these traces here? So it's created the potential, these sliders here, all of them, they've been chewing away at the mask on this PCB, and it's created the potential for some broken traces. But I want to test a couple of these traces with my multimeter. So grab multimeter, stick it into continuity mode, and we follow the traces to wherever it is they may go. So we follow that all the way up, all the way over, all the way down. Looks like it goes right into this chip here. So you hear that sound, and that's the sign of continuity, which is good. Following the next one, looks like it goes into this capacitor. Oh, sorry, wrong one there. This one looks like goes into there. Good. There, and those are all grounded. Good. This should connect into there. I mean, it looks like they're connected, so I guess as of right now anyways, there's no issues with those traces. Otherwise, this all kind of looks good. The last bit that we were having concerns about was this pad here. So top and right were constantly being triggered. So let's take this little PCB out of here and try and see what it is that's causing us some problems.
Now the trick to me is going to be getting this out without breaking anything.
Alright, so this is kind of a pain to get out, but the best thing you can really do, I found, is using a very small something. Try and pry these back this way. Use leverage against the rest of the housing. Just don't go too hard, as you don't want to break it. And then push the PCB out. And then you should be able to pull it just straight up this way. And there we go. So we've got 4 individual pads here. And it looks reasonably good. It's possible this just needs to be kind of rebuilt. So it may have been that the spring was pushing down the wrong way, but we're going to give this a solid clean anyways. And each of these, wipe the little conductive pads out with, again, just some alcohol. It's going to show up black. That's, I think, just some of the pad coloring coming off a bit, but that's all right. Clean this out while you've got it here. You've got years of Nintendo gunk building up, and then we'll put the pads back in. So we want to make sure that these are fitting nice and flush. There are little grooves built into the plastic here, so make sure each of these are in the way that they're supposed to be. And my fear here is putting this in backwards. So I'm gonna line everything up here with the actual housing of this. So you gotta look at the angle that this is built, and it should go in just like that. So now when I line this up, it should go in like such, just like that. So I'm going to go ahead, snap that down. All right, so that's in place. This spring, I'm going to put it down right there. The joystick will go, I think the spring actually needs to sit in the joystick. Yeah, just like that. So making sure everything's kind of aligned nicely. Flip this over, screw in the joystick top, the ball here. That noise you hear is my dog playing with a bone upstairs. So, and before I go any further, I've noted that this little piece has fallen out of somewhere, and it looks to be from right here. So I'm going to put that back into place. So it's always a good idea to do a little quick check before you go and put everything back together, that makes sure that you don't see anything that you think you shouldn't be seeing. Alright, so as well, missing here is the start button, or slow button, I think. So put that back in, and we'll slide the PCB back into place. So over the poles, the posts, hold it down just like that, and then this, I believe this joystick needs to rotate so that it fits nicely. You see how there's 4 posts here? It should fit into these holes right there. So move that just like so. Again, you need to make sure that the spring is in the proper groove into that joystick, and it should go right into place like that. So I'm going to screw this in first, because this actually has a little bit of tension on it, so we want to make sure that it's going to hold. Alright, next is this little controller here, and this is really just a push switch, but this controls how the slow button works. So you want to make sure that the switch is sitting nicely into this button, and then we'll just screw that in. So now, before I put everything back together, I'm going to put this guy in first. So this is really just kind of the relief so that when you push down on it, it's not getting a bunch of bounce. So you want to make sure that the thicker part is towards the back of it. Strain relief here, you'll notice that there's a rounded edge and a rounded edge of this cord. Make sure that that's in the proper way, loop those around. Set that off to the side. So if you were to complete screwing this all together, you'd put all the rest of the screws in. I'm going to try it just like this. I want to see if it works properly. So before anything, I'm going to give these all just a little push. Make sure that it feels okay. If something's just feels wrong, then take it apart and try again. All right. Let's go try it out. All right, so we've put this back together a little bit. We're going to test it out here and see if the joystick problems were resolved just by a simple cleaning. So I'll turn that on. Oops. There you go. So turn that on, and we're going to do the controller test. And we're no longer getting that false reading on up and right. So let's push start. Do up. I don't know if we can see that arrow. Yeah, you kind of can. There we go. So up, left, down, right, up left, down right, up right, select, start. You can say hi to Kona. She's intrigued by this noise coming out of the TV. X, Y, B, A, left, and right. So that was a pass. Make sure that these auto switches still work. The turbo switches seem to work. Let's turn A to auto. So, in general, it looks like we are back in action. So fortunately, just a simple cleaning seemed to have fixed this joystick, and now we can play. I'm probably going to play Turtles in Time, I think, first with this. So let's get it screwed back together and give it a final test with a real game. Alright, so let's give this a try. I just want to make sure that everything works the way it's supposed to be. Jump works. There we go. I can... use my turbo button here to just hold down the attack. Looks like it's good. So I'm content with this. Fortunately, it seems to have been a relatively... Oh, there we go. Seems to have been a relatively quick fix, just needing to open up this joystick and clean it out a bit. So hopefully, if anyone has something like this at home or you think you can do the same thing, hopefully this video was helpful in getting your Super Advantage or comparable up and running again. So thanks a lot for watching. I know it's been a while since I've made a video. I've been super busy again, and I'm hopeful that I should be able to have another one out in a couple of weeks anyways. I got a couple of things I want to try and fix up, including this Sega CD that you see there at the bottom there. I picked up a Gen 1 CD, and hopefully there's a minor issue with it, but I'm hoping that I can get it up and running smoothly. So hopefully we can stay tuned for that. But again, thanks a lot for watching. Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Get an alert when I release a new video, and like the video below. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think, what you want to see in the future. And again, once again, thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you next time.